A giant iron ball is rolling down the road. It is clear to see that there is a butterfly next to the ball. The iron ball continues to roll, with the ability to make turns. People are captivated by the scene and all look towards the ball. Suddenly, the ball starts to accelerate and quickly crashes into a bar. The incident is reported to the police, and they quickly arrive at the scene to investigate. A man claims that he had an argument with a priest the previous night and suspects it might be the priest's doing. However, the ball rolled down from a nearby hill. The man and the police go to the spot where the ball was placed. The security guard informs them that the entire ball is made of bronze and filled with 3 tons of sand. It has been securely fixed in place and has not been moved. They start to suspect the priest's involvement, but the priest insists that, as a priest, he would never resort to violence to solve problems. He had an argument with the bar owner that day because he didn't want his daughter to work at a place like that. He despises the impure environment of bars. Upon hearing this, the man and the police have no choice but to reconsider their plans. In the evening, the butterfly flies onto Lauren's bed. Strange things happen once again. Seeing the butterfly on her bed, Lauren finds it cute and starts conversing with it about life. Then, she gently holds it in her hands and releases it out of the window. She then sits on her bed and starts playing with her phone, unaware of the impending danger. Suddenly, the bedsheet automatically unties itself into threads and starts approaching her. Coil after coil, it wraps around Lauren, encasing her like a cocoon. By the time she realizes what is happening, it is already too late. The bedsheets automatically turned into threads and quickly approached her. One loop after another, they entangled her, leaving her unable to move. She fell to the floor, struggling in vain. Fortunately, she managed to make a phone call. John, on the other end of the line, rushed over and saved her from the coils. Luckily, they narrowly escaped the danger. Lauren noticed something strange about the butterflies. She found the priest who collected butterfly specimens and both of them quickly drew their guns when they saw the butterfly. The priest was confused. Suddenly, the necklace pulled him away. The necklace dragged the priest towards the road. Although the priest tried to break free, he seemed powerless. The necklace pulled him towards an approaching car. In the end, he leaned against the car. They hurriedly rushed to rescue him. At that moment, the car across from them suddenly started on its own and drove towards them. Lauren quickly used the gun but to break the necklace just in time, as the car sped towards them. Fortunately, they narrowly avoided the accident. After this incident, Lauren realized that it had nothing to do with the priest. After ruling out the priest's involvement, they had no choice but to go find Bob, the priest's adopted son. Just then, the butterfly appeared again. Could something else be about to happen? The next moment, the power box on the opposite side short-circuited. Both of them were filled with fear as the electrical wires extended towards them. Seeing this, they decided to leave. However, to their surprise, the ground behind them was suddenly flooded with water. They desperately tried to open the door to escape, but it was locked. They had no choice but to stand on a chair. Nathan quickly grabbed a nearby fire extinguisher and shattered the glass. Lauren reached out and pressed the alarm button. The ringing woke Bob up. At this moment, the power supply to the wires was also cut off. However, the two were still uncertain if Bob was involved in all this. When they found Bob's coach, they discovered that Bob was sleeping at the time and it was the alarm sound that woke him up. Lauren sensed that there must be something wrong with Bob. But why did a butterfly always appear before an incident occurred? They found Bob's residence and in his room, they found relevant evidence such as a miniature copper ball, magnetic minerals that attracted each other, and a painting on the wall, which were all things Bob saw before falling asleep. They believed that these objects entered Bob's dream and became lethal weapons in reality. After confirming the truth, they rushed to find Bob. It was already night when they were on their way. Suddenly, a swarm of butterflies appeared inside the car. Could another major event be about to happen? Countless birds fell from the sky, cows in the barn inexplicably collapsed, all the fish in the river floated to the surface, and even the salmon on the table instantly spoiled. All these signs pointed to this restaurant. Guests began vomiting, and the chef looked puzzled. Just as everyone was confused, Lauren and John arrived at the farm to investigate. The surrounded chickens in the chicken coop seemed fine, but all the eggs they laid were rotten. The caretaker was also very puzzled, but one thing was certain, the restaurant sourced its eggs from them. When the two arrived at the orchard, the entire apple trees had withered and dried up. Before they could discuss further, an urgent phone call came from the office. All the athletes at the seaside suddenly collapsed for no reason, but the common factor was that they had eaten ice cream. They immediately went to the wholesaler. At this moment, the supermarket owner had just woken up and had no idea what strange things had happened. When they opened the freezer, what they saw surprised them. It turned out that all the cows he had were dead. The two went to the restaurant, where the restaurant owner and the chef were arguing about the incident.
I'm happy to leave.
As the older brother, the chef had no choice but to leave. Despite their investigation, they couldn't find any results. However, the next day, the chef died mysteriously at the pier, and all the fish in the river died as well. If they didn't find a reason soon, the entire town would be plunged into panic. Lauren went to the home of the restaurant owner, Bill, but only his wife was there. The woman told Lauren that Bill was always busy with the restaurant and didn't have any time for himself. He had been searching for a way to free himself. It was then that Lauren noticed the cow ice cream in the under the foot. The woman told her that Bill had eaten it in the morning and there was more in the refrigerator if she wanted some. When Lauren opened the refrigerator, everything inside had spoiled. It was at that moment that Lauren had a realization. All these strange events were connected to Bill. Lauren went back to the restaurant to find him and forced him to eat the food in front of him. Then, she looked around and noticed that the surrounding ingredients hadn't changed. She deliberately provoked Bill to make him angry. Before long, the lobster on the plate began to corrode mysteriously, and the live crabs in the tank started to spoil. This is a strange town. It was sunny, then suddenly hailstones the size of fists started falling. Immediately after, countless cows died within seconds. Then, like rain, numerous frogs fell from the sky. Just a moment ago, a young boy put a paper boat into a stream. The paper boat swiftly moved forward and flowed into a pipe. The boy reached out to retrieve it, but in the next second, his hand turned blood red. Colin turned his head and was shocked to see that the blood had stained the stream. The sprinkler also sprayed red blood. The lawn was instantly dyed red. Colin called the police, but Detective Lauren faced a strange event as well. Dozens of frogs fell from the sky. The two quickly took cover in the car, but the frogs rained down heavily. In just a few seconds, countless frogs fell from the sky. What on earth was happening? The two of them were terrified inside the car. Before long, the road was covered with a thick layer of frogs. Just then, a swarm of locusts flew in from the sea. The two were extremely confused as the locusts seemed to have a certain purpose flying toward the villa. When they arrived, the locusts had already covered the car. The perpetrator had abandoned the car and fled, but the pedestrians suffered. Soon, other police officers arrived at the scene and the injured were taken away by medical staff. At this moment, Colin found Lauren and blamed them both for not answering the phone, and told them about the incident with the blood at the church. Lauren noticed that the blood/frogs/locusts were all part of the 10 plagues in the Bible and even suspected that God was punishing the town. The two decided to go to the priest for clarification. Suddenly, the fire hydrant by the roadside kept shaking. The two were puzzled. Just then, tens of thousands of flies poured out. Flies even filled the mailbox, densely flying into the sky. Even the cannons had them, creating a creepy feeling. They flew in groups, and finally, they flew westward with a purpose. The two were even more confused and could only seek answers from the priest. However, the priest uttered these words. According to the Bible, as a punishment for Egypt, God brought down 10 plagues upon the land. But it is this small town that has suffered hardships. The town has already experienced 4 plagues, with 6 more yet to come. The priest believes that this is a punishment brought down by God, and the town has become a second Egypt. However, John disagrees with his interpretation. At this moment, Lauren is analyzing the locations of the disasters and combining them with the town map. They mark the locations on the map in chronological order, guessing that these disasters may be connected to the perpetrator. Based on the information about the perpetrator, the two immediately drive along the trajectory to find out more. On the way, they witness the arrival of the 5th plague, a widespread epidemic that leads to the death of numerous cows, and its scope continues to expand. When they reach the perpetrator's house, they realize that it is not the homeowner who was driving, but his son-in-law. On the way back, they receive a call about extensive burn injuries among some residents in the town. Lauren realizes that the 6th plague has arrived. Then, a patient informs them that they saw the perpetrator at a bar. Upon hearing this, they rush to the bar, only to encounter a hailstorm the size of fists falling from the sky. This turns out to be the 7th plague. In this chaos, Lauren spots the perpetrator, Jack, but he quickly runs away due to the hailstorm. The group can only watch him leave helplessly. After the disaster subsides, they locate the position of the perpetrator and rush there. However, when they are on their way, darkness suddenly descends, enveloping the town in an instant. This is the 8th plague. Fortunately, they find the location in time and discover that Jack is extremely anxious because the 9th plague is about to occur, the death of the firstborn in every family. Jack is holding his firstborn child in his arms. In order to save his child, Jack contemplates taking his own life, as the disaster is about to strike once the darkness clears. As the darkness fades away, the 9th plague arrives, and the firstborn in every household falls, including John. Through Lauren's understanding, Jack reveals the truth. It turns out that Jack had read the Bible and it contained the 10 plagues. What makes Jack special is that through reading, he was able to turn the contents into reality. Therefore, Lauren quickly takes out a book and asks Jack to read it aloud. As expected, Lauren's speculation proves correct, and the people outside begin to return to normal. The disasters finally come to an end.